the foyer. On the table by the door, I have a couple of Department 56 Santas. There's a printer's tray on the bottom that Chelsea and I made with our crickets. There's a lantern with a swag that I made with greenery and pine cones and cotton branches. A big bottle brush tree with glass ornaments in a galvanized bucket with a wreath on top. One of the 13 trees is the owl tree. This is the only tree that doesn't have any lights. And it's all owls and pine cones and those green bottle brush wreaths. And I made the topper out of pine cones. Then on the stairs, there's greenery and berries and lights and the word joy. A big plaid bow, a big burlap bow. Then there's a plaid tree with plaid ribbons, plaid ornaments, reindeer, cotton branches, some glittery houses, another lantern. The picnic baskets from the thrift store are topped with one of the glittery houses. That green chest holds a lot of cross stitch. There's more Department 56 Santas on top, a vintage scale. A coffee filter wreath is on the mirror. Chelsea and I both made those. There's salt and pepper shakers that are the deer. Those are from Walmart. The car and the trailer, those I think were from Target last year. I think Chelsea got me those. The big Santa was from an estate sale. He had like a $200 price tag on him, but I think I paid $5 for him, and he's one of my favorite things. He's handmade. I made the joy sign with just some letters from the craft store and painted the board red and sanded it. And there's a little Lizzie Kate hanging on the green chest. The gift bag that was decoupaged onto the chalkboard sits on top of this wrought iron planter that's filled with Department 56 Santas, greenery, pine cones, ornaments, and a big Santa standing next to it. This Santa was purchased at a craft show many years ago, and he's made out of pantyhose. We love to hang him up every year, and he hangs on the wall in the foyer. Now we're going into the living room. And you'll see the frosty forest and also a flocked tree with all the glittery houses underneath. I have black and red check ribbons and book page ornaments and lots of silvery ornaments, white ornaments. A tray at the top that's painted with chalkboard paint, and then with a reindeer in the middle of it. There's also striped, red ticking stripe ribbons running through it, red berries. I love this tree. And then we're going to head into the living room, and on the table are more glittery houses, a cake plate filled with a glittery house scene. And then the Santa tree, the Prairie Schooler Santa tree, filled with stitched ornaments, fur garland for the trim, fur trim for the garland, black and red buffalo check ribbon, and it's on a flocked tree. Surrounding the two trees here up against the wall in the living room is the village. The village is my husband's job. He puts this together every year. It surrounds the two trees. And it goes on and on and on. The grandkids all love it though, so there's a special little area for Mickey. And those two houses on the bottom I just found at a thrift store a couple days ago, so they just got stuffing stuffed around them so they could be added in. This tree is because of a set of dishes that my sister-in-law gave me that had the trucks with the trees on them. I attached hangers to them. She gave them to me last year for Christmas, and the platter too. And I decided that I wanted the tree to be that way. So all the ornaments are trucks with trees, or the Ray Dunn look-alike ornaments that Chelsea made. There's a garland of white berries and red berries, aqua ornaments, aqua plaques with red writing, some sweater ornaments. I love the tree though. And the topper is a book page topper with a buffalo check bow. And we made that out of book pages. Over the top of the curio cabinet that's filled with Lilliput Lane houses is my Santa collection, and there's a buffalo check banner and Merry and Bright that I cut on the Cricut and glittered. There's berries and greenery up on top of the cabinet. There's 3 wreaths in the windows with flocked greenery on them, a burlap bows with bells on them, and the couch is loaded with Santa pillows and dogs. One is mine, 2 are Chelsea's. The only real tree in the house is this huge Fraser fir that has actually fallen over twice, but now we've got that problem solved by lifting it up onto a weight, and there's weights in the bottom of the bucket. But it's huge. It's probably 10 feet across, maybe even more. And it's filled with all the family ornaments and stitched ornaments and vintage ornaments and old ornaments and new ornaments, and it's where all the family memories are. I use a burlap red striped garland around it, and there's berries up at the top. It keeps creeping over into the hallway because it's so big. And underneath the tree there's a Santa and a stool. And then there's a vintage kids wheelbarrow with a Santa that came from a craft show with a vintage quilt that my husband's grandmother made, filled with a wheelbarrow full of ornaments. So in the living room there's 4 trees. In the dining room is the Seasons in Chalk, the collaboration that I did with Kathy Haberman. And it's a vintage paint by number frame. A couple of quilts, a Santa pillow. And this is where the ice skate tree is. And some of you might remember our windows that we found at a flea market, and this is where they are. That tree is flocked and it's filled entirely with ice skates. Underneath the tree are ice skates, and I usually put mine under there too, but I must have forgotten this year. And it's sitting up on top of a vintage crate with a flea market or thrift store basket that I cut a hole in the top and put it on there for the tree skirt. The hutch in the dining room is filled with Fitz and Floyd up on top, dishes, mason jars, a big flock garland is on the top. The soup tureens are up above in white. Some of my stitched pieces. There's a Ray Dunn little creamer, some vintage Santa cups, some Fitz and Floyd, and some Department 56. So here's all the dining room. The table's set with Dollar Tree plates, and on top of them are those plates from BHG, Better Homes and Gardens at Walmart, with a quilt for the tablecloth. Here's another tree. This one doesn't count in my 13, but it's got a wreath of cotton around it, little house ornaments, 2 geese are in the bottom of the basket with it, a tin star, red ticking for garland. Some more of my Fitz and Floyd Santas. And those little reindeer are Fitz and Floyd, and I found those at a flea market in San Diego. And the grandsons brought that back, the Mickey Mouse teapot back for me from Disney World, I'm sorry. A wire cloche with a Department 56 Santa. On the table is a big Fitz and Floyd Santa in a tin tray or galvanized tray with another Fitz and Floyd Santa with the reindeer. And there's a big Fitz and Floyd platter that I got at a thrift store and brought it back on the airplane from Florida without it breaking. I love this dining room furniture. It's black with the brown tops and brown seats. Here we are in the kitchen. And here's the chalkboard that I draw for every season that's in the entryway to the kitchen from the family room. There's one tree in the kitchen. That's my stitched wreath with the truck on it, with the Country Cottage Needleworks chart. It's the most wonderful time of the year. My chalkboard and candy cane tree is in the kitchen, along with my galvanized tier tray. Lots of vintage Santa cups, a little chalkboard, buffalo checks. All things Christmas in that tray. The lights are covered with greenery and ornaments and candy canes and bows. And my autumn chalk is still up because my other one is not allowed to be seen yet. Lots of vintagey stuff on the shelves, some stitching, Santa mugs. I love chickens, so there's a lot of chickens on top of my hutch. The inside of the hutch is filled with vintage Santa mugs. There's a cross-stitch wreath on the front, a vintage scale with another Santa mug, Fitz and Floyd Santa on the hutch. This hutch was oak and we chalk painted it. This was one of our first things that we chalk painted. We painted it white. There's a cotton garland up on top with greenery and lights, and the cow sign that everyone loves that came from Hobby Lobby on top. And there's 3 cow creamers up on top of the vintage picnic basket that's up there. The galvanized bucket has a chicken in it. The tree is filled with candy canes and chalkboard ornaments that I use chalk markers on and stitched ones. Black and red check ribbons. And it too has a basket turned upside down with a hole cut in it for the tree skirt. It's sitting on top of a vintage crate, and there's a red check Santa with it, and a glittery house in the bottom of the crate. There's candy canes on the tree that are bottle brush that everybody loves that I can't find any more of that I bought a long time ago. And that's a dog drinking. This is a Fitz and Floyd cookie jar. It's a Santa with all of his animals and toys in the back, sitting on top of a white wreath with ornaments and pine cones and ribbons and some battery operated lights. And it's all on top of a big platter. cabinets. There's another Fitz and Floyd Santa. He's in a wrought iron basket. The tray from the BHG at Walmart. A white chicken, a couple more chickens with wreaths around their necks, and another Santa on a cake plate. Another Fitz and Floyd Santa. A dish tray that's filled with little cow creamers and chickens and in the window there's wreaths with cotton, red check bows. There's a pom-pom garland and greenery garland over every window. More Fitz and Floyd and Department 56 and a vintage scale. A cow creamer. This is our downstairs powder room. And there's a little believe sign on the door. A wreath in the window that I made from a Dollar Tree sign last year. A reindeer that's made out of a men's sock that I used to make long time ago. And my Santa's Village with some greenery and plaid bows at the top. This is the patriotic tree that's filled with all patriotic ornaments. Red and white check ribbon, gingham ribbon, flags up on top, a flag tree topper, and a board that's painted with a flag design that I found at a church rummage sale this summer is the tree skirt. This is the hutch that I found on Craigslist. And it's filled with Department 56 Santas. It's got greenery, lights, and white branch garland up on top with a bow made out of burlap with rickrack. There's lights running through it on all the shelves. Some cross stitch, the Department 56 Santas, some more of the Better Homes and Gardens salt and pepper shakers. My little Hallmark tree with the little tiny miniature Hallmark ornaments is in a little enamel pan we got at the flea market the last time for $1. Before this we used to have a desk here, and this makes so much more of an impact than the desk did. This tree is a 4-foot tree. It's up on top of vintage picnic baskets. It's filled with stuffing to make it look like snow. It's got red berries, white berries, and snowflake ornaments. Next to it is the Jingles series from Lizzie Kate, which I have displayed on 3 picket fence pieces that Chelsea helped me put together. This wreath is another Dollar Tree plaque that I placed in a wreath and did a bow and cotton branches and flocked greenery. This is the hutch, or not the hutch, but the buffet that Chelsea painted for me. It used to be aqua, and she painted it dark red with the dark wax. I love it. And on top I have another galvanized tiered tray. This one is oval. And most of the things in here in this tray are vintage, like the little vintage putz houses, the vintage bottle brush trees, some more Department 56 Santas, some stitching, and a chalkboard and a vintage frame. There's a piece of fence that I got at a flea market with some greenery around the top, a chalkboard, and a sign that we painted. There's 4 trees here in the family room. 2 of them you saw, and then 2 of them are over here by the fireplace. On the coffee table, there's a enamel pan that we also got at a flea market, filled with berries and real greenery, and a big chicken sitting on top of a burlap wreath. Cotton branches. And then this is our family tree. That's all pictures of school pictures or little ornaments that the kids made when they were in school. And it rotates. It was from Hobby Lobby. On this vintage chair, there's a chicken and a lantern with a swag made out of greenery and cotton branches again. A lantern with a wreath, and down on the floor is a Mary sign that Chelsea made. Over by the fireplace, this Santa I found at a flea market. I think I paid like $3 or $5 for him. A sign, a Subway art sign, a manger, all the Christmas stockings, and the mantle is full of vintage trucks filled with trees, and Santa's tree farm is on the chalkboard. There's lanterns with greenery and lantern swags that I made with pine cones and picks from Hobby Lobby. Plaid ribbons, buffalo check ribbons. There's buffalo check ribbon woven through the greenery on the mantle. And all the stockings were stitched. There's a few more Department 56 Santas over on the bookshelves. And there's a cow in the back of, did you show them the cow in the back of that semi-truck right there? And there's a chicken in the back of the white truck. And then this is the snowman tree. It's got a snowman head for a topper. It's a flock tree. And all the ornaments are snowmen. Some are stitched. Some are sewn. Some are store-bought. But I leave this tree up through January because it's just snowmen. Because I can't get rid of everything all at once. The couch has a couple of Christmas pillows and a couple Christmas dogs who are tired and need their long winter's nap. On this side table, it's filled with lots of Christmas goodies. There's a vintage window with a pom-pom garland, a book page wreath, a couple of stitch pieces, Department 56 Santas, thrift store baskets, reindeer, vintage scale, the little butternut coffee we got at the flea market. I think it was $1. The garland was from my tree when I was a kid. And underneath the table there's 3 animated Mickey Mouse figures that have been around for a long time. So I appreciate all of you watching and hope that you enjoyed seeing it all. I know there's a lot, but it's my thing. I like to do it, so.